Okay class, today we will continue the chapter Major Landforms of Earth, chapter number 6, Geography. The page number is 142 to 147. The topic that we will study today is types of mountains. Different types of mountains. There are different types of mountains depending upon their mode of formation. That is how they were formed. Okay. So the different types of mountains based upon their mode of formation are the fold mountains, the block mountains, the volcanic mountains and the residual mountains. The fold mountains, block mountains, volcanic mountains and residual mountains. So the first one is fold mountains. Let us study more about the fold mountains. The fold mountains are created where two or more of Earth's tectonic plates are pushed together. Fold mountains are created where two or more of Earth's tectonic plates are pushed together. We have discussed earlier that what are tectonic plates. Tectonic plates are those plates which exist below the Earth's crust. These tectonic plates keep moving over time, and these tectonic plates have both water bodies as well as different landforms as well as land, and these tectonic plates have different types of activities, whether they are colliding or whether they are moving apart from each other, and in these different processes they form different types of landforms, whether it be a mountain, a volcano, or whether it be a valley or whether it be any kind of landform. Okay, so these tectonic plates help in the formation of different types of landform on Earth's crust. So when two or more of Earth's tectonic plates are pushed together, fold mountains are created. When two or more tectonic plates are pushed together, fold mountains are created. Okay. The next point is at these compressing colliding boundaries, rocks and debris are bent and folded into rocky formations like hills, mountains and entire mountain ranges on Earth's crust. So when these tectonic plates collide at the colliding boundaries, like this is a tectonic plate and the other one is this, then these are the colliding boundaries of the tectonic plates. These boundaries collide with each other and they are compressed. They are compressed, bent and folded into rocky formations. They are bent like this. They are bent like this and they form different formations which are hills, mountains and entire mountain ranges on Earth's crust. Okay. Then formed from sedimentary rocks and found along ridges of continents. These fold mountains are made up of sedimentary rocks. These fold mountains are made up of sedimentary rocks, and these fold mountains are found along the ridges of continent, or in simple words, edges of the continents. Like this is a continent Asia and this is another continent, let us say Europe. Then these two continents have fold mountains at the boundaries, that is at the edges, right? This is one continent, this is other continent, and this is the edge of these continents. So at the edges of these two continents, fold mountains can be found. Then there are two types of fold mountains. The first one is a young fold mountain and the second one is an old fold mountain. Let us see what is the difference between the two of them. The young fold mountains are 10 to 25 million years. They are 10 to 25 million years old, and the old fold mountains are 200 million years or more. Right? So, a mountain, in order to be a young fold mountain, has to be at least 10 million years old to 25 million years old, and for a mountain to be an old fold mountain, it has to be at least 200 million years old. Right? Young fold mountains are those mountains that are 10 to 25 million years old, and the old fold mountains are those mountains which are 200 million years old or more. Some of the examples of young fold mountains are Rockies and Himalayas, and some of the examples of old fold mountains are Urals and Appalachians of US. Urals and Appalachians of the US. These fold mountains are prone to earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. These fold mountains are prone to earthquakes, that is, a lot of earthquakes being happening in these fold mountains, at the surface of these fold mountains, and a lot of volcanic activity is also observed in these fold mountains. Let us understand why does this happen. Why do fold mountains have such high activity of volcanic eruptions and earthquakes. Let us understand why is that. The young full mountains are made up of weak sedimentary rocks, and these weak sedimentary rocks are quite soft, and that is why they get folded very easily. These sedimentary rocks are weak, and that is why they get folded very easily, and the tectonic plates cause movements on the earth's surface, and that is why earthquakes are also easily felt in these areas because of the weak sedimentary rocks. The young full mountains are made up of weak sedimentary rocks which are soft and get fold easily, and due to the tectonic movement, earthquakes are felt more intensely in such regions as well. The young full mountains are made up of sedimentary rock which are very weak and soft. That is why they get folded very easily, and because they get folded very easily, the earthquakes are felt more intensely in these areas, and more volcanic activity is observed in these areas. Okay class, so the next one is block mountains. What are block mountains? Block mountains are formed when the land is pushed up between parallel faults. When the land is pushed up between parallel faults. It is also formed when the land between the parallel faults sinks. The land between the parallel faults sinks. Like these are the parallel faults, and when the land around them sinks, a block mountain is formed. See, this is a block mountain, and this is also a block mountain. See, the land around them has not moved, but the land between the parallel faults has been pushed up, and here you can see that the land around the parallel faults, the two parallel faults, the land around the two parallel faults have sunken down. The land around the two parallel faults have sunken down, and here the land between the two parallel faults have risen up, has been pushed up. Okay. So now what is a fault? A fault is a fracture between two blocks of rocks. It is a break in the ground when Earth's tectonic plates move or shift. A fault is basically a crack or a fracture between two blocks of rocks. A fracture between two blocks of rocks like these, and these are the two blocks of rocks, and there has been a fracture between them. There has been a fracture between them. Crack has occurred between them. This is the crack and this is the fracture, which is called as a fault. Okay. It is formed when Earth's tectonic plates move or shift. A fault is formed when the Earth's tectonic plates start to move or they start to shift from their positions. See page number 144. The block mountains are huge block-like features with flat tops. They have flat tops. That the surface at the top of the mountain is flat, and they have steep slopes. That is, their slopes are very steep. What is a steep slope? Which is very sharp. Right? They have a very sharp or steep slope. Okay. As plates move, the strain of the movement sometimes cause brittle rock at the plate boundaries to crack. These cracks are called faults. When two faults are close together, the chunk of crust between them can sometimes collapse and form rift valleys. When the two faults are so close to each other, that the land between them collapses because they are so close to each other that the land between them starts to collapse, then this collapsed land forms a rift valley. When the two faults are so close to each other that the land between them starts to collapse, this collapsed land then forms a rift valley. The uplifted part of the land is called the host, and the subsided part is called graben. The uplifted part of the land is called the host, and subsided part is called the graben. You can also see the picture on page number 143. What is a host and graben? The land which has risen up is called the host, and the land which has sunken down is the graben. One such example of a rift valley is the famous Rhine Valley. Okay, so now the third one is the volcanic mountains. What are volcanic mountains? See page number 144. A volcano is a vent or an opening on the Earth's crust through which molten magma flows out as lava. So a volcano is a vent or an opening on the Earth's crust through which molten magma flows out as a lava. The interior of the earth is in molten state. That is, the interior of the earth's surface is in liquid form. Okay, when the earth's interior is subjected to extreme heat and pressure, it forces up the molten magma. When the earth's interior is subjected to extreme heat and pressure, it forces up the molten magma. Okay, so now open the page number 143 and see the figure 6.8, parts of a volcano. As you can see in the figure that this volcano has a magma chamber at the bottom, and the magma chamber is a place where the magma collects below the earth's crust. So below the earth's crust, the magma is collected at the magma chamber, and when extreme heat and pressure is built up in this magma chamber, the magma oozes out of the crater, which is a hole at the top of the volcano. See, at the top of the volcano there is a funnel shaped opening which is called a crater, and the magma travels up, or it moves up the mountain through a vent which is the main pipe up the middle of the volcano. The vent is the middle pipe, the main pipe up the middle of the volcano, and it is called a vent, and it is from this main pipe that the molten magma flows up to the surface, flows up to the crater which is a hole at the top of the volcano. An enormous cloud of gases and water vapor and fragments of rocks start to ooze out, start to form over the crater of the volcano, which is also called a volcanic bomb. This cloud of gases and water vapor and rock fragments is also called as a volcanic bomb. Okay, so now the magma was originally oceanic crust. Like if this is an ocean, then it also has an ocean floor at the bottom of the ocean, and deep inside the bottom of the ocean was magma, and this magma had a huge amount of water in it. This magma had large volumes of water in it, as it was present inside the ocean. This magma had huge volumes of water, as this magma was present deep inside the ocean, and this water is in the form of steam. This magma, which has a lot of water in it in the form of steam, creates pressure within the vent. This is the vent. It creates pressure within the vent, and it starts a violent eruption. It starts a violent eruption. So a magma was originally oceanic crust, so that it also contained large volumes of water in it in the form of steam, which results in violent eruption as it builds pressure inside the vent of the volcano. It results in a violent eruption because it builds pressure inside the vent of the volcano. The funnel-shaped hole or depression at the top of the vent is called a crater. The funnel-shaped depression, like this is the funnel-shaped depression which is at the top of the volcano. This depression is called as a crater. It is called as a crater. Secondary cones are formed on the sides of the volcanic mountain like this. Secondary cones are formed at the side of the volcanic mountains like this. See, when the magma is pushed up from the vent of the volcano, it oozes out from the crater and it gets collected on the sides of the volcano, and a secondary cone is formed. A secondary cone which is like this. This whole cone is a secondary cone which was formed as a result of the volcanic activity. So when this magma is pushed up, it oozes out from the crater and gets collected on the side of the mountains, and it cools down to form a secondary cone at the top of the previous cone which was already there. This is the cone which was already there. A secondary cone also forms when the magma oozes out and cools down on the sides of the mountain. Each eruption first produces rock fragments which are later covered by lava. Each eruption produces rock fragments which are later covered by lava and forms alternate layers on the mountain sides and form alternate layers on the mountain sides. See this figure that I have drawn. The magma oozes out from the crater and forms alternate layers of rock fragments. These are the rock fragments and alternate layers of lava. When the magma oozes out from the vent and from the crater, it forms alternate layers of rock fragments and lava. Like one layer of rock fragments, the other layer of lava, then again a layer of rock fragments, then again a layer of lava. So these are alternate layers that are formed as a result of magma cooling down at the sides of the mountains, and first it deposits rock fragments and then a layer of lava flows over it and cools down to form alternate layers of lava and ash or rock fragments. Okay, so the last one is residual mountains. What are residual mountains? See page number 144. These mountains are formed out of the existing mountains, that is fold, block or volcanic mountains. Residual mountains are nothing but they are fold, block and volcanic mountains being eroded or worn down by various agents of erosion. What are the various agents of erosion? These are wind, water, glacier, waves, etc. So when these different agents of erosion erode the top layer or the sides of the mountain can be a fold mountain or a block mountain or a volcanic mountain. But when it is eroded and when it wears down, a residual mountain is formed. The remaining part of these mountains is known as residual mountains. When these mountains, that is fold, block mountains and the volcanic mountains, are eroded by the various agents of erosion such as wind, water, glacier, waves, etc., a residual mountain is formed by the remains of the previous mountains such as fold mountains, block mountains and volcanic mountains. Now the next one is, how are mountains important to us? See the first point, mountains are abodes of snow. What is the meaning of the word abode? Abode means a home. So mountains are home of snow. They are capped by glaciers. The glaciers get collected on the top of the mountains. That is why they are also called the abodes of snow. So the mountains are also called the abodes of snow or home of snow. And the second one is, mountains help in bringing rain. Mountains help in bringing rain. How does mountains help in bringing rain? This is a mountain and here is a river, and because of heat, water vapors are formed, and as they rise up the mountain, because of the slope of the mountain, they start to rise up, and as they move up the mountain, they experience very low temperatures. And so these water vapors that were hot and light in weight, now it cools down. They cool down and starts falling on the rightward side of the mountain. So when these water vapors rise up the mountains, because of the slope of the mountains, they experience low temperature and so they cool down, and when they cool down, these water vapors form clouds and they start to rain over the windward side of the mountain. This is the windward side of the mountain. So when the water vapor that rises up the mountain cools down because of experiencing the low temperatures at the top of the mountain, as we move up in the atmosphere, the temperatures start to go down, and so the water vapors cool down and they start falling on the windward side. This is the windward side. This is the windward side of the mountain. So they start falling on the windward side of the mountain. So this is how the mountains help in bringing rain. The mountains are the source of most of the perennial rivers. What are perennial rivers? Perennial rivers are those rivers on which the water keeps flowing throughout the year. Perennial rivers are those rivers on which the water keeps flowing throughout the year. They never dry up. Right? The perennial rivers may become smaller and narrower, and the volume of the water may also decrease, maybe because of very high temperatures in the summers, but still the perennial rivers keep flowing throughout the year. The mountains protect the lands adjoining them, and they act as barrier against the cold or hot winds. So the mountains act as barrier. The mountains act as barrier, like the wind is coming from this side, and this mountain is protecting this side from the wind. This side is not experiencing very strong winds because the mountain is coming in between the flow of the wind. This is how the mountains protect the lands adjoining them, by acting as barrier against cold or hot winds flowing from this side. The mountains help in livestock rearing. What is the meaning of rearing? Rearing means bringing up or care for. Bringing up or care for until they are fully grown. So when you care for an animal until it is fully grown, it is called rearing. So mountains help in livestock rearing because they have rich pastures on their surfaces. So the mountains are also rich stores of flora. Flora means plants, and fauna, which means animals. And different types of useful medicinal herbs are also found on the mountains, such as the Sanjeevani booty, which is famous in the Ramayana. This Sanjeevani booty is said to be found in a mountain. Then the mountains are rich reserves of valuable minerals. The mountains are also rich reserves. They also store different types of minerals such as granite and quartz. These valuable minerals are also found in the mountains. Then the steep slopes help in the production of hydroelectricity. The steep slopes of mountains help in the production of hydroelectricity. When the water falls down from the steep slope of a mountain, there is a turbine at the end of the mountain. It starts to rotate, and because it rotates so fast that it generates electrical energy, and this electrical energy is called the hydroelectricity. So this is how the mountains help in the production of hydroelectricity by building dams. The dams are built over here. And they rush water with very high speed. And the water flows down the mountain, the steep side of the mountain, and falls down on the turbine, which starts to rotate, and a huge amount of energy is created. Electrical energy is created, which is also called as hydroelectricity. The mountains also attract lots of tourists, and there are good tourist spots. Then there are adventure sports such as the river rafting. The river rafting means traveling down river with a current of water over rough areas. Traveling down, like this is a river. When you travel down the river over the rough areas, like this is very rough area, and the water here is very shallow. So when you travel down the river over the rough areas with the current of water, that is in which direction the water of the river is flowing. So when you travel down the river in the direction in which the water is flowing, like when the water is flowing in this direction and you travel down in this direction, it is called as river rafting, and it is a very famous kind of adventure sport. Then there is paragliding. Paragliding, we all know that it means to jump down a mountain with a parachute. The parachute is like this, and the people jump down the mountain, and it glides over the valleys and the hills, and finally they land on the surface of the land. And finally they land on the ground. Then there is skiing, trekking. Trekking means walking long distance on foot. So these are the famous adventure sports which are being done on the mountains.